mayor, that it should say by majority vote of the city council.
Yeah, so the way it's always been is the mayor, as I understand it, I'm asking,
Yeah.
the mayor appoints
Right.
the boards and the chairman, all but EDC. EDC votes on the president.
And the vice president, your president.
And then the council has right of refusal, or they approve it all,
Yeah.
approve all these things.
But the mayor works with.
The mayor nominates, he doesn't approve, the city council approves. The mayor
City
just
council approves it, but the
Yeah.
mayor just makes the appointment, and it, you know, it just simplifies it where we can bring the, in there, show you what boards, where the mayor and I, or whoever, have discussed, and, gives you a roadmap kind of to go by. But-
So the first question would be, what's broke?
So we talked about
Why
this
are we
last
wanting to change it?
time.
Time?
We talked about this at our last meeting.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
So, I mean, we can talk about it again. It came up first when Greg passed away and there was no appointment. And the mayor at the time made an appointment. I wasn't at the meeting, the council discussed it and decided that they thought there should be more involved in those decisions about who got appointed, and opted to hold that, to not act on that appointment.
So what I
So
think,
that's where it,
I
that's
would
where
like
it
this to
started.
read is that the mayor and the city manager work together and bring it to council for us to deliberate and approve or not approve. Because ultimately, it should just be him.
The council doesn't have time to do what I did this year.
Right. So the point was not who put the first names on a piece of paper, but there to be a practice that there's more involved in it, instead of the old way when we had a strong mayor form of government, which we don't have anymore.
Right.
There was a discussion about whether or not that should be changed or not. At the time, the attorney said, well, you know, let's just leave it the way it is.
But you were one of the ones arguing to leave it as it is.
So
You were saying that's something the mayor should keep.
by having more involved, so under the old way, you know, limited involvement becomes before it. There's been a time where the council wanted to discuss it, didn't want to be discussed, it becomes this big thing. And so the idea was to not be a big thing, so that the appointments the council can discuss in executive session. So it doesn't matter who takes the first pass at putting the names down, if you want to do that, but that there be a process where there's more involved. We can explain why, whoever puts the first names
Right.
down, make an explanation, everybody
Right.
sees it. It's more of an inclusive process.
And that's, in my opinion,
That's what we're trying to get
This
to.
is the only way it should work, in my opinion. So it's just my opinion. Marvin and I worked together. I mean, we met 3 different times going over the list. I think part of it is unique this time because we're fortunate enough to have quite a few
Yeah,
people willing to do it, and hopefully that continues.
right.
And so I put more time into this than what this council has time to. But still, the way I understand it is, this list is being presented to you, what we came up with, which is not taken lightly at all. I think that the boards, each one of the boards need to turn in, I don't know, that's never happened on any board I've been on. I've never seen who had applied, anything else, they just kind of show up. And I think maybe part of that is because we have 1 opening and we have 1 volunteer. So it hadn't been a big issue. But if we continue to have what we have, it's got to be streamlined by a couple of people working out the details, because it's very easy to start with whatever board's on the list. In this case, the park board was first, and pick who's best for the park board. But then you've got to go down to the next board and figure it out, and maybe the person who was on the park board is equally good for the next board. So there was a lot of those changing going around. So I think that we need to make a conscious effort to get input from each and every board, I was the president of EDC when Greg passed away and when Joe tried to make that, and I was very surprised that I did not get a phone call to find out I had already approached somebody, because we didn't have a bunch of people. Same thing happened when Jill resigned on the park board. I talked somebody into taking that position. We had gone several years with not even having a single alternate, so there's been a shortage. So thank goodness we have this problem. I am of the strong opinion that Marvin and I working together need to come up with a slate of candidates, and then everybody else look at it and ask questions as to why here instead of there.
So this doesn't change that?
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
Well, then I'm misunderstanding, because my understanding is that the council is all gonna go in that room and make all these decisions.
The council has to
Instead of
approve.
instead of approving an existing list, is what I'm saying.
Well, anytime, it's so that if there's more are involved in the decisions that are made, without it being a big political thing, which this is becoming right now as we're talking about it,
Okay.
when it shouldn't.
How is it becoming a political thing?
Because your concern, I'll tell you your concern, I guess, I'll suggest maybe what your concern is, and we're trying to remove power from the mayor, and that's not what we're trying to do.
No, that's not my concern. My concern is, why are we trying to change something that already works? That is my concern, regardless of who sits in that seat. If you were sitting in that seat, I would be having the
Right,
same
no,
argument.
I'm not
because-
saying it's him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, do you like how the current process is for this?
Yeah, it works perfect with me.
So why are we changing
Okay.
something that works great for our city manager?
I gave the reason last time, and some of you went and shared that with others, and then I get phone calls about, why did I say this and that? So I guess we're going down that
Really?
path again. Yes. So a year ago, there was an issue with the appointments, okay? And
When I was
the issue
appointed.
could not,
That time
a
frame.
year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was appointed on
When you were
CBA.
Okay, yeah.
So not
Okay,
saying
yeah.
me specifically, but
Yes,
saying that time
yes.
frame when Joe
I'm not using any names, I'm just saying a year ago there was an issue, and to resolve the issue, it became, you were here, there was a
I think
to-do.
some of it, we're getting real close, and we need to be in executive session.
There was a to-do about
Stuff
it,
I don't
and
wanna
it
say out
had to
public.
be,
See, it's all
so
stuff I
we're,
don't know about, so.
okay.
So then let's go into exec and talk about it. So then we can actually have a decent conversation about it.
So the point would just be for every year that we go back there and we talk about it. That's the point, that's the difference, that's the change.
So
As
what-
opposed to it being sort of, this is it.
Yeah, why
And
can't
if
we
you're
all talk
opposed
about it?
to
We're
it-
all city council, why can't we
But
go in there and talk
you
about it?
can, but I'm telling you, you don't have time to do what I've done.
What does that mean?
I spent 4 hours putting these stuff all together. So either it's gonna be thrown together without as much thought gone to it and meetings with him. It's either gonna be thrown together that way, or we're gonna have several midnight meetings.
Well, it read to
We
me
don't have
like
that many-
his list meant nothing, he shouldn't even bother turning in a list. That's the way it read to me.
Okay, so let's ask, the attorney had a concern about the way the current one is written. So what we're discussing is how we want to be able to go as we can, and we never have in the past except for last year, when there was this particular issue, to go in to discuss about how the names were put together and stuff. My reading of it is that it doesn't, doing the proposed changes would not prevent whoever the mayor is and whoever the city manager is of coming up with the first list. Do you see anything that would prevent that?
No, I would agree with that. There's nothing that says that can't be the process by which the city receives, filters, and reviews applications or applicants for boards. My opinion is it clarifies what the ultimate, who the ultimate decision maker is about who's going to be put on the boards. I wasn't a part of what happened a year ago specifically or directly, but I imagine the issue came up because of what I see as some inconsistency in the language. Marvin pointed to it. The statement about the mayor's appointment doesn't say nomination, it says appointment with advice and consent. That's not consistent with the next sentence, which clearly calls out a vote, majority vote of council. And so, based